And today, I'm here to tell you about something, in my family, when I grew up, it was something very special to me. My father looked up to this whole sort of lifestyle. I was sort of raised on the same principles of, this very special man. What did I do? Rocky. See, Rocky Balboa embodies the spirit of the average working man, regular middle-class guy who tries to come up in the world, overcome various hardships, a life of struggle, and he fought his way to the top. That's why Rocky Balboa, is an amazing character. Now, Rocky Balboa, the story behind him, Sylvester Stallone created the story, and this Rocky Balboa, he takes in the character of many people. Sylvester Stallone himself, Rocky Marciano, who was the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. He was an Italian from Brockton, Massachusetts. He was the only undefeated heavyweight champion in the world. No one else has held. He had 49 fights, never lost one. Sylvester Stallone himself was not doing very good. He grew up in the city in Hell's Kitchen with a divorced family. He aspired to be an actor. He loved screenwriting. He loved writing scripts. But he got to the point in the early 70s where his only choice, he was basically homeless living in a bus station, and he had to make a porno for $200. He was at the point where his acting career was, almost in the gutter. All his dreams were, not coming together. And after watching Muhammad Ali, fight against another boxer from the street. He was from Kansas, and he was an average street fighter. But he went the full 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali. And, after watching that fight, he decided to write a script to a movie called Rocky about an average street fighter who goes up against the world championship. And he wrote that on a regular Marvel notebook, nothing special, submitted it to a whole bunch of movie companies, and they loved his idea for the script. They loved it so much that they offered him large amounts of money for the script, and they wanted to buy it right from him. But Sylvester Stallone insisted that he play the lead role of Rocky Balboa. That's Rocky Marciano, who was a lot of the movies based on him. Rocky 1, you see he's got that picture of Rocky Marciano right there over his mantle, his inspiration. And that was, this is Muhammad Ali fighting Chuck Wepner was his name. And he was an underrated, never really fought. He only had 11 professional fights, and he knocked over Muhammad Ali in a title bout. Even though Muhammad Ali did win it at the end of the decision, it was, the people were rooting for him because he was an unknown street fighter, and he took on the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali being an Olympic boxer. Now, the story of Rocky, he was an average, he was from, bad side of Philadelphia. He was, he made collections. He basically leaned on average working class people. When he leaned on him, they were sympathetic, He didn't want to break their thumbs. He didn't want to, do what he had to do to collect. So, he was a sympathetic collection agent. And, his heart, he was a fighter. His trainer, Mickey, seen, the heart in him, but he just never had the will. But eventually, the character Apollo Creed wants to take on an average street guy, someone with the name, the Italian Stallion. And Rocky gets his chance at fighting the best fighter in the world, heavyweight champion. So he goes up against him, and he fights him. And he trained extremely hard. He put up a good fight, and it was a split decision. And what happened was, even though Rocky didn't win, he won the people's hearts. That's what's most important, because he did the impossible. He thought what nobody else could do. And he went up against the heavyweight champion of the world and took it like a man. So that's really the main principle of Rocky Balboa. Rocky, it was a low-budget movie. It was only $1 million budget, which even in the 70s wasn't a very big budget. But it won all sorts of Academy Awards and all good stuff like that. So, it made Sylvester Stallone, he went from, being poor, from being homeless, to being, the rich, and he's a very famous actor, even to this day. He's still making, to this day, It launched his acting career. It launched the Rambo series. Rocky II comes back, beats Apollo Creed. You know, he made a lot of other Tango and Cash, one of his other movies. And, you know, even he went on to fight Rocky IV, which was a very popular movie in the 80s where he fought communism. He went up against the whole Soviet Union when he fought Ivan Drago, which was pretty amazing. It was very politically motivated, and it showed, you know, both sides, the way they trained. And he overcame Ivan Drago, who was, you know, a lot of people in the 80s, they looked at communism, all unstoppable force, they had all sorts of nuclear weapons. Ivan Drago was about a foot bigger than Stallone, and Stallone managed, even after Ivan Drago killed Apollo Creed, who became his friend later on, he managed to beat him in Russia. To this day, Rocky still influences. #1 is still very big in Philadelphia, and Rocky III, they gave him a statue, and it's still in Philadelphia today. Rocky still influences many fighters, not only, you know, even hockey players, all sorts of people in different types of sports. Rocky Balboa has continued to influence with his motivation.
Go ahead, Nicole. Where did this pen come from? I don't remember writing in purple. Anybody have a purple pen? Oh, weird. Okay.
From beginning?
From the beginning, first. How do you turn it off? Like the whole thing?
There should be a button that looks like a little screen.
Okay. I'll press both.
Okay. Oh.